Yo, what's up, guys? Shy Guy Reviews back at it again. Today we're going to be taking a look at My Hero Academia, Season 5, Episode 10. Really quickly, if you guys are debating whether or not you want to see the episode, I think you should. Go right now, go watch it, come back. It'd be great to see you then. I'd give it a 7.5. Nope, 7 out of 10. I was actually leaning more to a 6.5, 7. 6.5. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, and I'll say 7 for now. I'll might re-change that at the end, but we'll see. So not too many things happen here, big things, but a very important thing happens, right? So we're just gonna start off really quickly. Uh, All for One is actually in jail, in prison. He's locked up, and the guards are talking, saying we need to get rid of him. People are acting up, and we got to be very careful with him. I don't get why we don't just sentence him because, if we get on his bad side or we get on these people's bad side, all of a sudden, all of his sympathizers are gonna come out of nowhere and just attack. We're gonna have so many more problems. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry to cause you trouble." He's actually speaking to them. Everybody freaks out. And he's like, his memories are making his body ache, and he's hearing his brother's voice. So, this is a bit concerning. We actually flash back to All Might and Gran Torino, and they're talking. All Might has asked Gran Torino if he's ever seen anything like what happened to Deku before. And he says that Shimura, the one that gave the quirk to All Might, actually had a similar situation where a fuzzy shadow man stood up and he said now is not the time. Very different from what happened to Deku. Deku had the opposite happen where he said now is the time. So Midoriya's team is actually very scared of Shinso because they have to be careful about his quirk and how they speak and who they're speaking to, right? You can't be a hero with that quirk. Those are pretty much what's been pushing Monoma this forward this time. And he's talking to Shinso and letting him know, you know, the way my quirk was as well, people looked at me and they were like, "Wow, that's more like a villain's quirk, isn't it?" And that's very debilitating for someone that wants to be a hero, I would think. And he's trying to relate to Shinso, and I don't think Shinso fully understands what he's trying to say because I didn't at the beginning either, and Shinso seems very confused. He doesn't feel like he shares anything with this guy. But, we learn that Monoma is actually, he's a pretty good character, and for a class that's been doing nothing but hard work and doing everything right compared to class 1A, who's always been getting themselves in trouble. They might not have caused a lot of it. Some of it they have. They've gone off. They've done things on their own. They've done hero-like things, but they've broken many rules to do so. So from his point of view, it really does seem weird how they're still 1A. He feels like 1B is better than 1A, and in many regards, including teamwork, I'd have to say they are. So very quickly, all the teams weigh in on the fact that Deku's team is built a lot like Bakugo's team. They're running the same formation with Deku at the front, but the difference is they don't have Airphone Jack to scout. So what we actually see they do is that they send grape juice in the air. Ochako makes him float and lets him look around for enemies. It's whatever. Between him, her, and Acid Girl, it's a really odd team. I gotta admit. We had a little bit of a joke with that with our quirks last episode. But Deku is like, okay, I gotta get their attention. He goes out and he's about to just be flashy. Monoma instantly catches on. Monoma's on him. Deku's chasing him, and Monoma's actually egging him on. The scary thing about Monoma though is that he can copy someone's quirk for 5 minutes after touching them. I don't know how this works yet completely, but it's possible that he could touch more than one person and have all of their quirks at once. Very similar to the guy that can eat quirks, combining quirks all for one, and as we'll find out later in this episode, one for all. Quirks that combine other quirks are pretty powerful. I mean, in all honesty, if he can touch Deku and he can really take Deku's quirk, I mean, does that mean he'll have access to the rest of the quirks? We're finding actually that out a little bit later in the episode. If you're watching this, I'm assuming you've seen the episodes. It shouldn't be too much of a spoiler, but it's something to think about. And he's actually egging him on really quickly, and there's a scream. It sounds like a Chaco, and he's like, "You don't even want to look." And he's like, "Oh wait, if you look towards them, you might be giving them away if it wasn't her. If not, well, you just abandon your teammates." And he's really pushing this guy. The girl who has the ability Poltergeist, I think her name is Emily. She's actually making objects fly around, and she's attacking Ochaka's group and Deku at the same time. Or it could be Monoma. We don't know. Monoma can also have a quirk active at the same time. The original user has it active, and Monoma can be attacking Deku using it, and she can be attacking Ochaka's team using it. I'm not sure, to be honest. But point is, she's throwing objects at them. She has a long range quirk, and she's pretty much a psychic. So there's another person actually, and she can make things bigger and smaller. So what they're doing is they're making things smaller, her, and they're throwing at them, and then they're making it bigger. And Mines or Shota, the shirt dude, but he's really looks really smart. His quirk gets twin impact, and pretty much any time he makes an impact, he can make a second one that's much stronger. And when you combine these three quirks, they have a really good strategy going on for really long range Monoma at the front. Again, if Monoma can actually combine these quirks, maybe not now, maybe later on, but I do think Monoma is probably going to be. If Monoma ends up becoming one of the most influential characters in the show, I'd be so happy about that. So pretty much, Deku starts freaking out as Monoma mentions something about Bakugo ending the symbol of peace just to egg him on, and his power actually goes berserk. It's a lot like Tokoyami's power with the black shadows flying everywhere, and it's pretty much just smashing everything. All Might has a realization that now is the time, and he wants to stop the match. Monoma is like, oh, he has another power, and he's keeping it. Damn it. And Deku actually doesn't realize this, but it's really interesting because Monoma does. Monoma completely realizes this is another power that Deku's been holding out on. He tells Shinso to run after accidentally breaking a wall and revealing him. I don't know if this was his quirk just doing its thing or what, but Shinso's in shock. Uh, he really shouldn't have been found there. Deku didn't know he was there. He's just lashing out on everyone, including his own team. And Deku's wondering why it's gone berserk, especially right after he's gotten control of it recently. Ochako jumps on Deku, and we're having Ochako's whole backstory pretty much, where her parents were always tired. She saw them be very happy after a hero had saved them, and she wanted to replicate that. She wanted to make people happy. And then after watching Deku for so long, she realized who saves the hero. I mean, this is a very common question in media, so I'm not too surprised by it, but just it's a small part of the show. It flies by. It's not too annoying. I gotta admit, it was okay. And pretty much she comes up with a plan. Shinso has to mind control him. I was like, why doesn't he do that already? He could have done that a while ago. But Ochako comes up with the plan, not Shinso. Shinso seems to still be in shock after being found. And he's like, okay. He's thinking, he's thinking, he's thinking. He's like, fight me. And Deku's like, yeah. And he gets under hypnosis. Now, this is the really interesting part because this is where we actually see one of the first users of One for All. And this might not be his brother or All for One's brother, but this might be his first successor. And his first successor, and I'm saying his first successor because apparently he had a quirk, had the same quirk that Deku was lashing out with. And all those fluctuations that were happening were actually what would happen when Deku was going to see all the shadows behind the doors. It was actually One for All evolving. I mean, his quirk was evolving during that time, which is crazy to think about. Throughout all these people, it's been getting stronger and stronger and stronger, like All Might said. But the thing we didn't know is that it's also keeping their quirk's powers in it. And now it's time. Deku can have the power of all of it. And you know what? This is going to be great. He says, you know, you must have thought I'm going to capture this guy, and my quirk is great for that. I don't know if he's in his mind, he could read it, and he's like, you're lucky I was the first one. And after being cultivated, apparently his quirks have had gotten even stronger. So you only imagine what would happen if it was Bakugo's quirk or something along those lines. And all that's left him is his spirit. So he's trying to use the power or he's trying to let, Deku know that he has to be careful with the power because as he is just becoming angry, the power is just lashing out at everybody. He has to actually control it so that it's strong enough and he could, properly use it. And pretty much he just gives him a bunch of little tidbits on what he can do to really control the quirk. And he's showing it to him, and he's like, "Well, that's it. My time's up. My spirit's running out." And this is where we get a very important piece of information: is that he's gonna have six more quirks to master through all of the descendants. So Deku, the boy that started with zero quirks, is gonna end up with like seven at this rate. Um, it's pretty interesting. Uh, and the more I think about it, the more I realize, it might just be sheer physical strength that's being passed down from one person to two. He's got the power of two to three. He's got the power of three. I mean, if that's just normal physical strength that's being passed down on, that Deku's getting this power of this quirk in, imagine how much stronger these quirks have gotten. we don't know that that was a quirk that was separate. That just might be he's passing down the strength from the previous owners, and as you pass it down and down and down, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. But the fact that these quirks have matured to a point where they can do such things is crazy. It seems my camera has frozen here. But, you know, the enemy team is still attacking, and it's turned into a brawl. So, let me just fix the camera real quick. Boy, you guys have to put up with this. Not the best freeze frame, but, you know, it's okay. So, pretty much, Deku is in brainwash mode. Dude disappears, and Ochako wakes him up, and Monoma does not miss his chance. Monoma immediately starts to attack him. This is the point where all the teachers get there. When all the teachers get there, Aizawa realizes it's good now. They don't have to do anything. And Shinso attacks Ochako, and Deku just stops it. And, you know, that's the end of the episode. So again, this episode was pretty simple: fight, exposition, fight. And I would say you guys probably have to watch this if you want to enjoy My Hero. Uh, Let me know what you guys liked in this episode. Honestly, the thing I enjoyed most was just seeing the previous owners of One for All. I want to see what their abilities are like, and I want to see what their personalities are like, and how that becomes manifested through Deku. So you know what, guys? Have a great day. Don't die, and remember, dying is bad for your health.